have any questions, do you remember what we said about the 3 stages of skill acquisition? Cognitive, associative, autonomous stage. Yeah, I found the video that cut through yesterday that summarizes everything. Just as to just refresh as a summary what we did yesterday. But it's better like spend 7 minutes to watch the video before we go forward and new one. Yeah, just to make sure that we are okay with everything. And then we're gonna start today's session, which is more about leadership styles and threats and communication methods. Yeah.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be taking a look into all of the elements that make up the learning environment, starting with skills. Now, obviously, there are 1,001 different skills a good athlete can possess, with most skill sets changing dependent on the game or sport. For this reason, we like to utilize categories to identify and classify them all and make it all easy to understand. So, in this video, we're going to take a look at these classifications, that being open or closed environment, fine or gross range skills.
Hey, Larissa here.
I thought I found it, but I found the wrong one again. Is this the same channel, but wrong video?
You can search in that channel also.
Yeah. Oh, you can search the channel only?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, that's one.
Hey guys, and welcome back. Now, let's be real for a moment. Even if you aren't as uncoordinated as I am, I'm sure you still know how difficult learning a new sport can be. And becoming really good at a sport is even harder. To go from being a rookie to playing professionally is a long process that requires heaps of practice, a bit of feedback, and tons of motivation. Today, we're going to take a look at that lengthy process, breaking it down into the 3 key stages of learning, a framework devised by a couple of lads called Fitz and Posner. These progressive stages are known as the cognitive, the associative, and autonomous stages of skill acquisition. For each stage, I'm going to give you 3 key characteristics to remember, which will help you differentiate between each one when it comes to your exams. As always, to get an idea of where this content is all coming from, you can just check out the syllabus dot points we've got below the video. Other than that, let's get straight into it. Alrighty, first up we've got the cognitive stage, and here it is all about the basics. At this point, you've never done the skill before, and you're trying to learn what to do and how to do it. Which brings me on to the first key feature of this stage. Big mistakes, and lots of them. Yeah, at this stage your technique is probably going to be all over the place. You're making lots of mistakes, and there's going to be a lot of inconsistency. Which leads us to the second key characteristic of the cognitive stage. Feedback has to be external, and this is super important. At this stage, you're not receiving any internal feedback, as you aren't able to criticize your own ability very well. For example, if you're trying to learn how to do a layup, and you take 3 steps instead of 2 before shooting, you probably won't even notice. That's why having a coach to provide ongoing positive feedback on what you need to improve on is so important. Another key characteristic of this stage is developing a clear mental picture of the skill. Like, for example, with our basketball player, breaking up the key movements of a layup and visualizing them. Having a clear mental picture of executing the skill will develop an athlete's understanding of how the skill should be done. This is also why we call it the cognitive stage. Remember, cognitive refers to thinking. So in this stage, we're still having to think really hard when trying to complete the skill. Okay guys, so that there is the cognitive stage. Once we've started to get the basics, we move up into the associative stage. In the associative stage, it's time to start improving technique and skill execution. The first key aspect of this stage is it's all about practice. In the associative stage, there is a lot of repetition of the skill, as the athlete works on technical aspects such as timing, fluidity, and sequencing. For example, once our basketball player knows how to do a layup, they'll practice it over and over, moving at a faster pace, and in game-like situations, or a sequence with additional skills like passing. Repetitive practice creates this synchronization between the brain and the body, which helps us to develop a deep awareness of how to perform a skill effectively, bringing us onto aspect 2. In the associative stage, the learner's internal feedback and kinesthetic sense will begin to develop. Now, your kinesthetic sense is your awareness of your body's movement and position in space. It's that sense you get when you know you performed a skill correctly or completely wrong. For example, at this stage, the basketball player will begin to sense when he's made a mistake before he's seen the outcome. Your intrinsic feedback is the mental feedback you give yourself on how you performed. So, if the basketball player performed the layup and missed, the intrinsic feedback might tell him it was because he didn't jump high enough. This is where the differences to the cognitive stage come in. In the associative stage, the player really starts to be able to understand and improve the movement while they do it, as opposed to where they're just thinking about it really hard beforehand and not being able to spot errors as they go. This also explains why it's called the associative stage. It's where the player starts to associate the way they're moving with either a positive or negative outcome, so they can start to understand what works well and what doesn't. The two go hand in hand. As you gain knowledge of your performance from your kinesthetic sense, it is translated into your intrinsic feedback. The third key characteristic of the associative stage is less errors. The learner will make less errors than they did in the cognitive stage, and the errors will be less frequent. This is because the athlete's improvement. So, maybe instead of stuffing up every second shot, the learner might make 1 mistake out of 5. Alright, that wraps up the associative stage. It's all about practice, internal feedback, kinesthetic sense, and less errors. Now, you can progress from here into the autonomous stage, but doing this is pretty difficult and requires a lot of dedication, which is why most people never do. This is where the rep players and professionals sit. By reaching this stage, the learner has a higher degree of accuracy and consistency in performing the skill. Making the first key characteristic, the skill comes automatically and fluently. Here, the athlete's kinesthetic sense is well developed, and the skill comes as second nature, which means they don't have to think about how the skill should be executed, they just do it. It's automatic. For example, if our basketball player is at the autonomous level, they won't have to think about the process of the layup, they'll just do it. Alright, the second aspect of the autonomous stage is the athlete's ability to redirect their focus. Instead of focusing on the execution of the skill, they are able to concentrate on other cues or external factors like the opposition, the starting whistle, or maybe the weather. To improve performance, this means training sessions for autonomous level players that should mimic pressurized game or competition situations. The base skills are almost too easy for them. Alright, the final characteristic is the type of feedback. At this stage, the athlete is able to detect and correct pretty much all of their errors. Their feedback is almost entirely intrinsic. Now, you may be thinking, if they can give themselves all their own feedback, why do elite athletes still have coaches? Remember, not everyone's perfect. There's of course going to be a few minor corrections that athletes need at this stage. They may not immediately pick up on themselves. Coaches tend to have a good scientific understanding of the sport to help fix biomechanical errors. But for the most part, athletes can rely on their internal feedback. So guys, that wraps up the 3 stages of learning: cognitive, associative, and autonomous. Remember, the cognitive stage is all about learning the basics of a skill. You're still having to think about it hard just to get the basics. Then, once you've nailed the basics, you're moving into the associative stage. Here, it is all about practice and working on improving things like technique and timing. Most people never progress past this stage, but if you do, you move into the autonomous stage. This is where you're pretty much pro. Athletes don't really have to think about the performance of the skill. like learning the basics, practice, 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 and I'm a pro. Alright guys, that's all from me today. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.
Okay? I think that was a good summary from everything we discussed yesterday. So a question here, because most of our kids are here, some of them here, none of them are towards that side. Okay? Because obviously this will affect the way that you teach them the skills, yeah? Okay, how would you know who is here and who is there? What can you, maybe with the simple, what can you ask them to kind of understand? So obviously you observe the kids, but in terms of focusing on the feedback side, okay? Here we say external feedback is key, so because they can't understand what's going wrong. Here, they start understanding what's going wrong, okay? Not consistently, but they start understanding. If they perform something, as I said, if you miss a layup, a cognitive learner, associative learner, start understanding why they missed that layup. Here they don't, okay? What can you do to understand how you can progress with that kid? If you have to ask them a question, because here it says that you start asking questions, okay? Here if you ask a question, you probably won't get an answer because the internal feedback is not there. You need to let them know what went wrong. Here, they start understanding, okay? For me as a coach, to understand if a kid is here or there, what can I ask them? What questions can I ask them? Let's say someone yesterday missed a layup, okay? As a coach, I saw it. I know why he missed that layup, okay? So, but for me to understand whether he is there or there, what can I ask them to prove that, to get that validation from me?
I can ask what's gone wrong in that shot.
Yeah, what do you think? So stop the session, says that, what do you think? Why did you miss that layup? So a cognitive learner will say, I don't know. They will say, I don't know. Because they don't have the internal feedback. An associative learner, yeah, they will say, oh, I didn't use the backboard. Because I went in front of the rim like this, or I instead of using overhand, I did underhand. I didn't jump because underarm you need to jump higher to lift the ball inside the basket. Because if you go like this and the net is there, the ball might hit the front ring. If you go on the side and use the overhand and use the backboard, it will drop in, for example. Or they go on the right side with the left hand, wrong hand and stuff like that, and they miss the layup because they didn't have the good angle. They might be able to give you something, or they jump with the wrong foot, something like that. Or they travel and say, what happened? Why now I stopped? What happened? It's like, no, I did 3 steps, for example. Or I traveled because I moved the pivot leg, or something like that. They will be able to give you something. Maybe that's why towards this side they might be able to give you an accurate description, but here they might give you something that is, to an extent. Maybe they did 3 things went wrong because they missed something or they missed a shot. But they might be able to give you 1 thing. That means that, okay, the internal feedback start working, but it's just towards this side, not towards that side, okay? If you ask them questions, and they can start answering you and give you some, okay, yes, okay, you're right. So to some extent, that's what's went wrong, okay? That's a good practice for you to start asking questions, especially on this stage. Here is more directive, okay? Good, and now we will see today, going into today's session, about leadership styles, depending on what learner we work with. Okay, today's training is more about coaching practices, leadership styles, and forms of communication. So, building leadership and communication skills for coaching, for effective coaching. So, hopefully by the end of the day, we'll be able to recognize key leadership traits, styles in coaching, understand leadership and communication styles for different skill levels, cognitive, associative, autonomous learners, practice leadership skills in group activities, how to create effective environments for player development, and adapt coaching methods for different groups and activities. Okay, so first of all, what makes a good coach? Clear vision and goal setting, okay? Positive attitude and enthusiasm, patience and empathy, and be trustworthy and be confident, okay, as a coach. So confidence, and it's not just the kids learners, so we as coaches, we are learning too, yeah? If I start now, or give an example, when I start teaching swimming, okay, I wasn't a competitive swimmer or anything, I had to study a lot and I had to learn, because that kid, when I was telling something to that kid, if I don't get that trust, build that trust with the kid, yeah, they won't trust me, or they won't do what I'm saying them to do, especially in the water, because I wasn't confident. If I don't have the skills and I don't have the knowledge and I'm not confident in what I'm telling you, it's not going to work, because you won't feel that you can trust me with what I'm saying. It's the same with the kids. So you need study and try to teach them what you learn and what you own. You have to own it, and then to build that trust and teach it with confidence. Okay? With the three key leadership styles in coaching is the autocratic, which is the more directive, clear and firm guidance, which is effective for beginners and cognitive phase learners. Okay, learning the basic skills. Second is the democratic, more participative, collaborative and encouraging input. Okay, effective for intermediate players in the associative phase. And the third is the less fair, which is more supportive, hands-off, empowering players, which is effective for more advanced pro players in the autonomous phase, which is more skilled and self-reliant. So as a key insight, you need to adapt your leadership style to match the player's skill level. Okay? So for example, we're going to talk through more in the later slides, but and I said that the first day, when I do my team sessions with some players, I'm more like this, because we're not there yet. Okay? If I go and teach and coach in a pro team, I will do more here. And then when I go on and do a session with my unit team, I will be more here. When I go to teach little ones, I will be more here, which is how to switch depending on the players that you coach. Okay, and this is not easy. Okay, especially when that reflects your coaching philosophy. You need to be able to adapt, and that's why coaching is really hard. It's not an easy thing. Okay. So first, autocratic, okay, the classical approach. A coach is a leader, so you have a lot of power and decision making, and you have the authority to do everything. So you are the boss. You are talking, so the kids listen, okay? Because it's more appropriate for, we'll see later, for cognitive learners, okay? So you have the power, you have the decision making, and the authority to do what you want to do with them. Okay? When you teach a skill, when you ask them to do something, you have the authority to do that. Participants that don't consult staff, so they don't ask you, or they don't tell you, coach, can we do this, can we do that, or can I do it that way? Because again, the internal feedback is not there. Okay? And it's not allowed to give any input to the information given. Participants expected to obey orders without receiving any explanations. Okay? Structure of rewards and punishment. So you can say that, okay, you do this, you get this reward. You don't do this, you do that. That's going to be the consequence. Okay? So research suggests that autocratic leadership style is characterized by individual control over all decisions and little input from group members. Autocratic leaders typically make choices based on their own ideas and judgments, and they rarely accept advice from followers. Okay, so it's more like like Soviet Union style. Yeah. Okay, so when to apply autocratic style? Best used in crisis where decisions must be made quickly and without dissent. When we don't have time and think to discuss something and we need to make a decision quickly because we can't have that discussion to make a decision. That means that I'm the leader, I take the responsibility, I make the decision. Okay. New and trained participants. Okay. Effective supervision can be provided only through detailed and clear instructions. Okay, when the participants that know the response to any other leadership styles, and only a amount of time which the decision must be made. Okay? When not to apply, people risk being treated in this manner. Okay? Often leads to high levels of absence with the sporting activity. So, when kids, for example, often, they can't take it. Okay? Sometimes a lot of kids, young kids, especially in Western countries, because they're not used to this type of, let's say, behavior, they just drop out. Okay? Participants expect their opinions to be heard. Okay? Especially, this is more more associative learners, that they start understanding what's going on, what's going wrong, and they need to have that input. Okay? But cognitive learners, they can't give you that input, or if they say something, they don't have the understanding, it's wrong. Okay? And when there's low morale within the group. So this is more like, imagine now we start, because we apply this very firm, and we have kids, dropping out and they don't want to be there anymore. Okay, maybe not sit down once, and then try to compromise a little bit. Okay? Or change your approach. Okay. So they're democratic, also known as a participative states. Someone who delegates authority, encourages participation, and empowers players. Okay, this is more like, yes, I'm still the boss, but I can hear your voice, I can hear your opinion. Let's discuss it whenever we have time. And within that process, give that empowerment and motivation to your players. So a democratic leader. They develop their influence through the personal qualities and team members such as respect. Okay? Encourage all participants to be part of the decision making. So ask questions, ask their feedback as well. Why do you think this happened? What do you think we should make in this situation? And then you have the knowledge, obviously, and you will guide them. But throughout this conversation and this discussion, you will support their learning. Okay? And their understanding of the skills and the play. So also keeps participants informed about the possible outcomes in the performance, and self-decision making as well as problem solving. So you can say now, you know what, this weekend this team plays that type of zone defense, or plays full court press, for example. What do you think we should do? I know in my mind as a coach what we will do. But I ask my players, what do you think? How do you think is the best way to attack this type of defense? Sorry, what offense should we use? Should we use this, or should we use the other? If you have two different tactics, and then ask, why do you think that this is the best option to use? And then walk it through maybe and show them what is the most effective way. But throughout this process, it's more appropriate to the associated learners. Okay? And keep them informed about the possible outcomes of this performance. Let's say that, you know what, if we do this is going to happen, and that is going to help us. That's how it's going to help. So if we play this press break with 3 passes, we're going to be able to score an easy layup there. Okay? But if we choose to dribble through the press, we might end up losing and turning the ball over. Okay? That's how it works. Okay? So the same research states that this is a type of leadership that members of the group take more participative role in the decision-making process. Research has found that this learning style is usually one of the most effective and lead to the higher productivity, better contributions from the players, actually from the group members, and increased group morale. Okay, so mostly, remember, we will see in a minute, but this, how does it look like? I mean, which states Which age group? So which of your group we're gonna use this style mostly?
Which batch?
Yeah, which batch? Yeah, exactly. Which batch are you gonna use this type of leadership style?
Age group?
Yeah, which batch? Which? Huh? Under 40, yeah, intermediate level, yeah? Intermediate level, exactly. Okay? So more, obviously, the you know, autocratic, more starters. Again, not just to punish them, it's a little bit more firm way to treat them because, again, they are just starting, they don't know anything about basketball. You need to show them and direct them and be firm with them to start learning and have this discipline, this respect, this determination to perform a skill and follow you as leader. Okay, because they don't have that internal, they can't understand anything. When they start understanding, this is the most effective. And mostly you will be able to use this throughout, okay? Unless until we develop, let's say, an elite academy or have players that, later on become pros and stuff like that. Okay? And then obviously when to apply, most of them will when working in a team environment, when quality is more important than efficiency or productivity, provides participants and coaches leaders to develop a high sense of personal growth and developing good working relationships, highly effective when undertaking team activities meant to write that, I don't know, it's a typo error, sorry. When not to apply, when decision making can be slow, hinder situations where speed or efficiency is essential. Team members may not have expertise to provide high quality input. Okay, so that's another thing now. When we don't have that pressure, time pressure to get ready for a game on Sunday, for example, when we have time to develop, again, it's ideal. When the time or speed essential is you have that time pressure, you don't have that time to discuss and make decisions. When it's a slower process and you have time, again, it's the most ideal. Okay. Laissez-faire. So this type of leadership is also known as the hands-off style. It's a little bit like laid back as a coach. So the coach provides little information, directions with the activity, and gives the participants as much freedom as possible. Because again, they're autonomous learners, okay? And pretty much, again, can correct in high level or high percentage their own mistakes, their errors, and all authority or power are given to the staff, and they can determine their goals, make decisions, and resolve problems quite independently. So another research suggests that this style is thrown out of the ball and have a good time approach. The coach provides little instruction, provides minimal guidance. Okay? So with this, but again, as you saw in the video, it says like, why is still a coach needed? Obviously, every time, in any case, there's a room for improvement. And also think about team sports. It's about combining different personalities there. Yes, as independently, you might be autonomous learners, but in combination, the friction between personalities, it makes the thing, makes the group work effectively really hard. That's why top teams now. See, maybe Manchester City is a good example now. So they are in crisis after so many years. So they have five losses in a row, and then they draw yesterday, 2 days ago, wherever it was at. Okay, so they're not in a good place. So it's the same team. So, but now it's the same players. They didn't become from autonomous learning and associated learners automatically in a year. Okay, but now Guardiola needs to go back and manage personalities, manage the psychology of the players, maybe a little bit of tactics. Say that gives the guidance that you understand your mistakes, but now we need to change the tactics. We need to use this instead of something else. Okay, because he can skip all the bias that everyone might have, because I'm an autonomous learner, but I can't see what's going on with my teammate. I can't see what's going on with my other teammates in their head or anything. But as a coach, you have this responsibility for the full group, and you need still to provide guidance. And then yes, they will be able to take on this, but you need to decide on it as a coach. When to apply? So autonomous phase. Okay, players are highly skilled, confident, and self-motivated. They can take responsibility of their own development and decision making. So example again, during strategy sessions or when refining gameplay for higher competition. Okay? When not to apply, so cognitive phase, players lack basic understanding of the need structured guidance. Okay? They might feel confused, lost, or unmotivated without clear direction. So again, think about if you are laid back and then sit down as a coach to a starter, a beginner, and you let them, okay, let's go now, we do the left-hand layup. Left-hand layup, you don't correct them, you don't say anything else, you don't explain how to do the drill, you're not firm with them, just let them go. Some of them go with 3-4 steps, some will throw the ball like this, some will throw the ball with the right hand because that's the strong hand and they can't go left, okay? If you're lying back and you're not firm with them to say, okay, stop, we're gonna do this, you have to do 1, 2, you need to start with left hand, left foot, right foot, jump, bring the ball up, throw the ball and stuff like that, follow through, okay? You need to be more firm than lay back, okay? And then, again, so when the team lacks focus, so if the players are not taking initiative or responsibility, hands-off approach can lead to disengagement or chaos. So again, if as a group now, even if autonomous learner or cognitive or associative learners, okay, they start now, something goes wrong, goes downhill. We start losing, people start pointing fingers, stuff like that, so you can't be laid back anymore. So you need to be firm and say like, okay, what are you doing? So, go back to different style. And then if you want to not sit down once, democratic, ask them questions, why this is happening, what we can do to improve this. You can see that now this, when things go wrong, we can't react like this, okay? And ask them questions. What do you think we need to do to fix that? Okay? If you want to not sit two notes down, be again more firmer, and say that I don't want this, you're gonna do this, and that, okay? And if someone doesn't take responsibility or points finger, it's always someone else's fault. Okay, you as a leader, as a coach, you need to tell them, no, it's not your fault, it's everybody's fault because you didn't this, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Okay? Under tight deadlines or highly stakes situations require quick decisions and precise execution. It's more directive and participative style. So let's say you have back-to-back games, you must win the next game. So again, you might change a little bit your approach with that style, with that game, sorry, with that preparation, okay? So as a key tip, use laissez-faire leadership sparingly and only when players are ready to take ownership of their performance. Okay? This is more like, in a pro environment, more like elite level. Okay, now, so if you have personally, based on your own philosophy or your own personality, let's say, where would you put yourself on? Okay? What reflects mostly on yourself? Don't think about who you're coaching, okay? What age groups, which players. As a person, what reflects you more? Are you feeling that you are more like this, or more like that? It's not right or wrong. So if you have to put a dot or a thing, so if am I here, am I here, am I somewhere in between, okay? Where would you put yourself?
Democratic and a little bit autocratic. Last one and first one.
Okay. Good. Okay.
This was second and democratic and legislative not there actually. So that's why first and second and third.
Wait a second. Let's do something else.
ऑटोक्रेटिक में क्या है टू डायरेक्ट डायरेक्शन में है ये करना है ये करना है
Let's see if we do the same.
डेमोक्रेटिक में क्या है बच्चों से भी इनपुट ले
Well, let's do the same here.
ऑटोक्रेटिक में ये से बोल रहा है ये करना है
Okay, so we can have.
लेजिस्लेटिव में क्या है कि तू इनके ऊपर करना है
स्टेबल एडजस्ट करनी है तो कुछ भी खुद से एडजस्ट कर लेंगे इसकी तेरा इनपुट थोड़ा सा रहेगा
उसने स्टेपिंग किया था
Yeah. Good. So go and you can put your name there. So draw a line. So do like this and put your name down. Okay. If you want, you can draw 2 lines. Just keep space for others to do something. More democratic. Good. There. Okay, so do it like this. Yeah. Great. Okay. Why do you think that when you drew the line, so why do you think this fits you the best? Why do you think what you chose there, the line, what do you think fits you the best?
I have to say one option only.
Huh?
I have to say one option only. Democratic. Right.
इधर किया है इधर क्यों किया है
क्यों अभी ऐसा
आपका
अभी
most
ये तेरे
interest-
बेस्ट क्यों तूने अभी ये चूज किया कि थोड़ा
Democratic और ये.
थोड़ा ऑटोमेटिक और थोड़ा डेमोक्रेटिक हो तो ये तेरे लिए बेस्ट है ऐसा क्यों
Hello. After we guide the kids also and tell them to support like so to learn only. Tell them to learn.
खुद से सीखने की
because the age group we are training is there
Okay. So depending on which age group you teach, yeah? Okay. Yeah, so that's why you chose 2. Because depending on what kids you teach, whether it's like beginners or intermediate, you have different styles. Okay.
When intermediate it's democratic, then beginner it's autocratic.
More right. Okay. Good. And why it works well when you teach the beginners? Why autocratic works better when you teach
Because
beginners?
they don't know.
Because they're new actually. They're new to the game and they're learning.
feedback is something
Okay, great. Good. And why democratic fits the best when you teach intermediate?
Because they have internal feedback already. That's why we give them chance to put their input.
Okay. Can you give me one example of, let's say, you have beginners. How how can you demonstrate your autocratic style when you teach beginners? So think about the situation.
Then we teach layup then.
Don't use my example, use something else. Think of something else.
When we teach them shooting,
Yeah.
we have to teach them step by step. One, set up position, then release your hand,
Okay.
hands down. Teach all the things step by step, not together.
Yeah, you can teach that in democratic style, step by step as well.
Yes, but teach them, but they can't do their self.
Okay, we start the drill now, okay? A shooting drill, and I have beginners. Okay, tell me who can demonstrate how you're gonna, let's say, instruct the drill. What are you gonna say? How are you gonna say it?
Free shooting. Demo. You are asking about autocratic.
So
or
I've got a
democratic?
group of kids now, beginner level, 10 years old, and I want to do a shooting drill. So a shooting drill, let's say you're gonna spin the ball, catch the ball and shoot it. Okay? That's the drill. So how are you gonna explain that to beginner learners? Beginners.
First tell them to roll the ball and stop. After that,
Okay.
you tell them to stop it here, at the
Yeah.
set point, and after that, shoot. 3 steps.
Okay. So yeah, your approach, how is gonna be? How are you gonna demonstrate that? How are you gonna approach that with the kids? If they start,
Demo they can-
एक्चुअल में बच्चे अभी कैसे करें?
Actual में, if we have kids, then first we
yeah,
get them the demo.
okay, that's
After
fine.
that, kids will start.
Okay, and let's say they start doing mistakes.
Then stop there and tell them.
Okay,
So first thing I will be specific what form I want.
okay.
And they should be performing that drill in that particular form only.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll correct them on basis of the form which
Okay.
I want.
वही
So I'm
कैसे
giving
करेगा?
them specific instructions
Mhm.
what I want to see.
Okay.
Then they have to do that thing. If I am autocratic
Mm-hmm.
and if I am being democratic towards the beginners,
Yeah.
so I will rely on them to correct themselves. If they are having, for example, I told them what exactly form I want. So now they are getting the ball and they are self-correcting them, and then they're trying.
Okay. Well, for the begin, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
But in autocratic, we have to correct them ourselves. Like, step by step. Like, if their position on, hand positions on ball is not correct, then we'll go and correct their hands by making physical
Okay.
sessions.
Great. Are you gonna be with the beginners? Are you gonna be
Accept the errors.
firm? Sorry.
Accept the errors.
So-
They will make more errors, so we have to accept it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, definitely. So are you gonna be more firm or lighter, like more
Firm.
with the beginners? Firm. Yeah. Okay. And then, can you ask another young person to ask some questions to ask their inputs? A young person, let's say they miss a shot or their hand was, the angle was like this when they tried to shoot the ball, or they shoot the ball with both hands. Are you gonna ask them questions like, what can you do to improve that?
No, because he doesn't have an answer about it.
Exactly. They won't understand. Like if you ask them, what can you do to shoot better, or what can you do to improve your shooting angle, or anything like that. So they won't be able to tell you that. Oh, you know what? I didn't leave a gap between the balls, or just push the ball, or I didn't snap my wrist, or my elbow was outside instead of inside, or my legs, I didn't bend my knees, I didn't push my legs inside. You need to be firmer. So like, okay, next time bend your knees, or keep your hips lower, or elbow in. Just quick instructions, specific instructions, firm. Okay, do this. So next time, this. If you don't do it, demonstrate. Go and physical assistance like we did yesterday with the Arizona State, or more concurrent instructions, post instructions, depending on how they react, okay? But you need to be more firm and more direct to them, okay? Democratic, different, so you ask them questions to boost that learning, okay? The internal feedback that they get, so they start getting internal feedback, by asking them and let them answer those questions, you validate them, okay? Because as a learner, now I'm having an internal feedback, but again, I'm not 100% sure whether what my internal feedback starts becoming, you know, in my mind, is it like this or is it like that, especially when they're between cognitive and associative. I might have some doubts, but you as a coach, when you just ask a question to a learner, then they answer back, and you said, yes, that's correct, okay, next time do that, okay, internally, okay, what I'm thinking, it's correct. So that's boost confidence for the learner and say that, okay, my internal feedback starts working and it's effective. Okay, but it's not going to be consistent. That's why you need to, when you ask them and they are not answered back correctly, you're going to say, yes, maybe that's one case, but you did another 2-3 things that needs improvement. It wasn't just this, it was something else. They're still getting that, okay, my internal feedback works, but it's not as effective yet. Okay? And then I have another question here, but I think we already answered that, and you already know. It's like, do you think that you need to adjust your style for different players and situations? The answer is yes, yeah, we already discussed that. Okay? So one thing is, you know, think about how you coach most of the time. You might coach mostly beginners. Yeah, I don't know if all of you have balanced groups or anything, but sometimes you might teach mostly. You might have 6 hours per week beginners, 2 hours per week intermediate, depending. Okay. Ashley says, why would I place myself there? So we already did that. And then the third is, our style isn't fixed. Okay, it's normal to move across based on your play skill level and what's happening on the session. Okay, sometimes, as I said before, you will have learners that there might be associative learners in shooting, but cognitive learners in dribbling. That's why sometimes you need to be there and back, depending on your players. Okay, and again, it's not easy, but yeah, it's how you balance that inside you. But if you have the awareness, and then practice, you will be able to do that. And you will be able, because if someone that might lack focus on one day, okay? Even in autonomous states, players might not get ready to do the session. I will be more autocratic with them. Okay? Even if they are elite level. Okay.
In match situation?
Yeah?
In match situation?
Yeah?
In game situation.
In game situation, we go back to, where is this? It's this. Even if in game situation, in a little level, but require quick decisions, okay? Don't use it. Go back, be more autocratic. Yeah?
Game situation.
That's what I was saying before, like it depends on the, scenario, situation. Guardiola, or let's say Guardiola, in football we might have time to make decisions a little bit, differently. But in basketball, because it's fast paced, you call a timeout, and it's the last play of the game on a final or whatever. We'll have 3 seconds on the clock. I'm not going to ask my players, what do you believe we're going to play? I'm going to say we're going to do this, and I'm taking the responsibility with that. And nobody else talks, okay? Because it's a high pressure situation, it requires thinking. I am the coach. I'm thinking for all of you. You may be thinking like this, like I want the ball and make that final shot. But for me, it's my decision as a coach to draw something for you to make that shot, because I believe you are, based on where the game is or whatever, I believe that I want to win or lose with my decision. Okay? That's why. So it's a good question. That's exactly what I was. Yeah.
You are asking about, you are telling about when you have some timeout or something like this. But
Yeah.
I think his main question is during the game, when the game is running, that time.
It's the same. You give timeout. When we talked yesterday, remember the Arizona State, one of the coaches had the printed version as well. What types of behaviors, coaching behaviors we used yesterday. When we watched the video and I asked you, use your first name, praise, call, and all that kind of stuff. One was like pre-instruction. Pre-instruction might be, okay, before we start the game. continuing instruction is during the game in this situation, okay? The game is played because how many timeouts you've got? 4 per game, something like that? Yeah? So 5 per game, sorry, okay? You won't be able to stop the game and get a timeout every time. Sometimes you need to give instructions there. So something happened, we're gonna play, so it's 10 seconds on the clock, and I don't want to foul because we have team fouls and we won't want to foul them and send them a line. Okay, play clear defense. Don't foul them. Or let's say we are up by 3, just you don't have any timeouts and you need to give defensive instructions because otherwise we're gonna lose the game. Says that I don't want a 3, I don't want an end one in this fight. So just let them score a layup. Because I know that there's 6 seconds on the clock, we are up by 3, because if you receive a end goal foul, okay, end one, they might tie up the game. If you concede a 3, you might tie up the game. The only way to not lose is by letting them score a layup, because then it's like 6 seconds. 5, 4, 3, score a layup, 3 points, you still have the ball. So get the ball, you still are up by 1, they might foul you, go to the free throw line, and so on. Okay? But yeah, just you don't let them randomly do it, because players under pressure might react differently. One might go completely blank, and if you don't give them that external feedback at that time, they might go and foul, or might leave a player wide open to shoot a 3. Okay? A lot of players, especially when they go 50-50 in similar situations, they do the stupidest thing that they go a little bit rich, but then their mind at that same time says that, oh no, I don't have to foul, but they're already there, they have, and they pull it, and then the referee calls a foul, score a layup, and go. So we've seen that so many times in basketball. Yeah, but they know after that, they realize a split second that what the hell I've done. So, but it's just a reaction, okay? But in the meantime, before we're there, if they hear the coach or a teammate telling them that, leave them score a layup, they're gonna do this, score a layup, different story. It's decision making, high pressure any time situation, okay? But then as a coach, yes, yeah, you need to, give them clear instructions, give more to the other side, do this, okay?
So most of the coaches in India, they used to use this joystick coaching style. Means they will tell everything. Oh, pass to player P. Oh, you go drive. Oh, now you have to pass. Like every position, everything they have to dictate.
Okay. Again, if it's it depends on which level you are. I don't think you can do that. Especially the modern basketball, the way that they play, it's fast-paced game. I think it's killing the game. No, you can't direct every reaction.
Okay.
And especially, I don't know, like the kids play, it's noisy, stuff like that. Even with the little ones, you need to let them play a little bit. You give more instructions to the little ones because obviously they do more errors and they can't correct their errors. But if you reach to even, let's say, amateur level, but they play for 5-6 years basketball, but yeah, let them play. And then, depending on what's going on, and if they go, you need as a coach to work on the plan. Let's say we work on the plan, on the games, the plan, everything won't go according to the plan. Depending on how far you go out of the plan, then you just call timeouts, you give instructions, and so on. But yeah, you let them a little bit read and react.
You can give them key inputs,
Exactly.
but not dictate everything.
You saw from the offense we play now, motion offense and this. So it's like, every movement as a sequence, it has so many different options. It's like you go left and this player is there, this player is there, but if that player moves then something else will go on. There are so many different scenarios there that how can you, transfer the information, receive the information. It's too fast. The game is too fast to play like this, prescribed. Okay? A lot of other coaches, like I used to do this in Greece a lot. It was we had specific plays. We didn't have that communication, but we worked on a training session so many times that we played prescribed, but by memory. So we knew the play that we want to do this. This goes there, that goes there, the pass goes there, and we play a little bit more remotely like this. But yeah, and again with this, if the defender does this, you do that. If the defender does something like this, if you have it in your mind prescribed what to do, might be the stupidest thing to do because the defense didn't adjust. And sometimes that's the thing. That's why you need everything you do, you need to give the players options. And then yes, when they see, they need to get that input from the defense, process the input, and execute accordingly because it's effective decision making under different, game situations. You work them on a training session, but it's not just this 1 and 2. It's about this. If this happens, you do this. Give them the options and then let them into the game. Every player to react accordingly. And as they progress and they develop with that, they will do more effective decisions based on the defense and based on how the game situation unfolds. Okay? But you as coaches, you need to teach them in the training session all those options, and then in the game, let them do. And then yes, give them feedback again when something, if the decision making is poor or is less effective, let them play as they as they become effective or as they play effectively or something works. Let them figure it out. Okay? And that's to reach that space in basketball is the most difficult thing. Okay? But we work in a session. No, they won't find the options randomly because the thing about this, it's like maybe someone is a cognitive learner when you introduce a new play, and automatically they become more associative as they learn that play. Anything that is new, it's like it's something new. It's on the cognitive side. Then but in some ways they become quickly associated learners of a play. If you play 10 times, 15 times, 20 times, and then it becomes autonomous when you play it 1,000 times and it becomes autonomous. But think about this, break it down to small actions in every play. So you start from something new, something that you work, practice, and something that you master it and becomes, unconscious. You weigh around something unconscious. If you play this motion offense 3 years, they're gonna know how to play it automatic in their mind because they will build that massive memory that I'm doing this, I'm passing the ball, I'm cutting, doing this and that, and then all the options. If you work the options, practice the options, and then they will become automatic. That's why we say like good teams, they have this automation. And then if you do this with elite players, they will be able to do it even quicker. Okay? But the process is the same. Okay? Does this answer your question, Coach? Coach? Did this answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay? Now, are we okay to carry on with the communication now, or we want a small break? Should we crack on, or you want a small break?
5 minutes.
5 minutes break, okay.
More detail.
Okay.
फिर step by step apply करना पड़ेगा.
Okay, we don't have much left, so the second part is about communication. Okay? Communication is a process where information is exchanged between coaches and athletes through a system of behaviors, signs, and symbols. Okay? Coaching is all about communication. Okay? It's about how you give that feedback, how you give instructions, and so on. Okay? It's all about communication. We can't play without communicating with our players. Okay? Especially in team sports like basketball. Okay? The problem with communication a lot of times is the illusion that it has occurred. A lot of people think that they're communicating, but they're not communicating. It's about communicating, and it's communicated effectively. Okay?
Last time we had done that.
Huh?
Last time you had that data of communication.
Yeah.
What the coaches think.
Oh yes, yeah. So the last training, yeah, good. So effective communication. Coach needs to communicate with players as a group of players and as individuals. So you give instruction, you give feedback, you communicate sometimes to all of you, sometimes individually to players. Okay? Regardless of the number of players they are communicating with, to communicate effectively, same principles apply. Okay? And communication needs to be clear. So ensure that the information is presented clearly, concise, transfer the information clearly in a few words. Okay? Correctly, be accurate, avoid giving misleading information. Complete, give all the information and not just part of this, because sometimes it's going to cause confusion. Courteous, to avoid conflict. Constructive, be positive, avoiding critical, criticizing players and be negative. Okay? I mean, obviously this is just for us as coaches. Sometimes we can reflect on that, take accountability and ownership, because sometimes, I might say something that it wasn't accurate. Say, okay, don't be afraid of this. Sometimes say that, okay, that one I said it was my mistake, it was my fault. I thought it was this, it wasn't that. So correct yourselves. And that is better than leaving players with the perception that, oh, my coach is not accurate, is not correct, because again, that compromises trust, and you don't have that, confidence with your players. And if the players, you can't give them the answers. If you can't give an answer of something that a player asks you, it's better to not answer and say that, okay, that's a really good question. I will get back to you in the next training session. Okay, I will give you an answer with this. But as a coach, you should be able to, and you need to give answers, and you need to give answers and explain to your players what we are doing, why we are doing it. Okay? Explain the whats and whys. Okay? So there are different types of communication. Okay? We have verbal communication. Again, this will be clear, concise instructions. Step with your left foot, then shoot, blah blah. Okay? Verbal talk. Okay? And we have the non-verbal communication, which is body language, so it's like someone missed a layup, this, or indicating, something like that. With gestures and tone to reinforce messages. So you can talk and at the same time you can instruct as well. Okay? Non-verbally. Okay? And listening. So players, their feedback and feelings are valued. Okay? Sometimes communicating works both ways. Okay? It's not just it's just receiving and giving. Okay? Matching communication styles now to skill levels. Now to engage this with the styles of learning. Okay? Beginners, cognitive phase, use clear communication, step-by-step verbal instructions and demonstrations. Okay? Give frequent, specific feedback. Again, okay, that was a good form, that was really good footwork, that was nice, change direction, really good. Okay? Or you just didn't shoot the ball correctly. Try to not release the ball earlier. Just finish jump and then release, for example. Okay. In the associative phase, intermediate level, let's say, ask open-ended questions. Okay. What did you notice about that shot? Okay. Or if someone we're doing yesterday, let's say we're doing the first pass, second pass, corner shot straight away. How many times you said like, okay, that was a rough shot, so I want to pass the ball a little bit more. So you can stop the game and ask them like, next time, when you have a little more time and you want them to develop that understanding, it says like, okay, that shot occurred, what do you think? Was that a good shot? Okay? What do you think about that shot? Now, ask the team, open question, okay? What do you think about this shot? Someone might say, okay, it was a good shot. Someone might say, okay, it was an open shot, but it was a quick shot. So maybe we can move the ball a little bit more to make the defense run and find a better option. Okay, because, or let's give you, Edward, did you use that example the other day that with the 3-on-3? No, you coach, you used the example. You said that the girls say that shoot the ball.
Yeah.
Okay? You can ask that girl, says like, why do you think that sounded, it was good? In the game that you needed a 3 to win the game. Okay? You know the answer as a coach, but ask that learner, because to be able to give an instruction to their teammate to shoot the ball, that means that that girl thought that, oh, okay, we need a 2-point shot now, we need a 3-point shot, like for 2, to win the 3-on-3 game, okay? Because it was the end, and blah, blah. So ask the question, okay, what do you think about that shot? Why was that? Why did you give that instruction to her? So she would be able to answer that, okay? Use balance feedback, highlight strengths and suggest improvement. Sometimes, yes, it was a good shot, but it was a good shot because of this. Maybe it wasn't that good shot because we had 14 seconds of the clock and we can do something differently, okay? And this is again, what I said is they have that internal feedback, but they need instruction, so they need that mix. You know, maybe sometimes there was a strong, there was something correct of what they give you back, the feedback that they give you back, but there are another 2 things that they didn't pick up yet. Okay? So it's a mixture that, okay, I am confirming, I'm validating your feedback, your internal feedback, as I said, okay? But this is another 2 things that you need to consider because it wasn't just the one that you picked up, there are another 2 things to make it perfect. Okay? That makes sense? Yeah? And then autonomous phase, provide brief, constructive cues only when needed. So very quick, okay, if something is just a refinement, something to make it even better, okay, focus on problem solving and peer collaboration. So maybe on that side, so support peer-to-peer, so when they play the game, it's okay, how we can make this better between you, not just me as opposed to getting involved, okay? So communication with coaching, again, about verbal. Verbal is a style of communication that coaches use words, okay, to transfer message to the players. Okay, language is represented by words presented in a different way. Voice, maybe sometimes it's writing, okay, email or sign language in disabled. Some people with special needs. Okay, question and answer technique. Ask questions rather than just tell players what to do. Again, it needs to be positive approach, successful performance, stop explain. Okay, good feedback for a performer, better understanding of the skills for the rest of the team. Okay, in terms of mistakes, correct without discourage the players. Okay, don't use negative approach, make the players feel insecure, and might force them to avoid try it again, so they feel a little bit more, you know, a little bit more weak and less confident when you use negative approach. Okay, try to do it in a constructive way. Okay. And another forms of communication, non-verbal communication, is everything we do except of words. Okay, everything we do that it doesn't involve talking, you know, writing, stuff like that. So it's about maybe some facial expressions. Okay, someone can get, so you do a good shoot, I say yes. Okay, so I'm using facial expression and gesture. Okay, eye contact, sometimes we're gonna say, okay, so we'll make eye contact to give a hint, a cue to a player to do something, okay? Because especially in basketball, verbal communication sometimes wakes up the defense, okay? Sometimes you need to use something else. So when the defender doesn't look your player and say that, you know, do this or just, you know, show the play or do this or give a screen or something, yeah? Gestures again, so this, that, you know, box out, and body language. Sometimes, especially with body language, sometimes the player can see, coach might not, you know, scold or anything, but if they see, if you do a turnover and the coach is like this, okay, this is like, you know, negative body language, so the coach stays like this, you know, different things, or if you celebrate, or you know, it's different ways, okay? An example of non-verbal communication is illustrated by a coach greeting the player who has made a good play with a friendly eye contact or a smile. Okay, so you score, you say like that was really good, yeah. Just smile or say be positive or celebrate with them to motivate and encourage them. So all this is forms of, you know, non-verbal communication. Okay. Again, we're gonna watch a video. The next one. It's the same video we watched yesterday, okay? When I asked you to note down the Arizona State, Okay, the coaching behaviors. Now we're gonna watch it and then we're gonna see that what did the coach say to explain the drill of the movement. Okay, what did the coach how did the coach motivate the players during the practice? Okay, and then did the coach ask any open-ended questions? And did the coach give any constructive feedback? Okay, you try to note down the coach's communication ways. Okay, and just focusing on those examples. So clear instructions. Okay, encouragement, open-ended questions, constructive feedback. Okay.
Five guys, offense will go to defense, defense off. Offense will go to defense, defense off. You got 5 at both ends. Alright? One-on-one, jump to the ball first. I want to see you make a flag at the ball. We're not trying to steal the new rules. Can't do this, can't do this. Everybody's going to try to drive. We got to keep our hands
So
up.
you got assistant
No,
coaches.
they're not getting, if they shoot it, they're going to have to shoot it right here. The worst shot in basketball is this shot. If they come to here, it's getting blocked. So you got to guard, make them go wide so there's no straight line. Hands up, body. Don't worry about down in here if they score. They're not getting that shot off. All right? Second thing, listen. We're not trying to steal the pass. The reason is we all have to play the ball because everybody in college basketball is going to try to do what? Drive. Get your head and shoulders to any contact is a foul. So now they got to sag a little bit. That's how we've always played. Bull fake. I'm trying to deflect this pass, not the pass he's throwing. My man. All right, here we go. Great job, Willie. Good, Aaron. Rebound. Go again. Stood there and stop. Hold it. That's what's happening. And that's why he's getting 14 rebounds. You stop. He had 18 yesterday. So Dakari had 26 points and 18. And I'm hearing he doesn't get the ball enough. So he's a ball hog. Is that what he is? He got to have every ball. He has to have them on the way he wants to shoot them. Is that what I'm hearing right now? All right, now, what he did yesterday is he dominated play. 18 rebounds, 26 points, because you're stopping. And you must be stopping, or whoever else is playing against him. Someone's stopping, but there's one kid that's not stopping. He ain't stopping. And when he sees a bucket at the end of a run, he's faster than Julius. What? Here we go. Here we go. Oh, where'd that arm go? Arm went down. Automatic foul. And hey, everything you did was great. You just put the arm down. Arm got to stay up.
Okay? Obviously, the camera angle didn't stay with Calipari. Maybe you will be able to see more expressions or different ways of communication. But what did he use? All the assistant coaches. What did you spot?
Body language. Body language.
Yes, sometimes gestures. Yeah, non-verbal communication. They were doing gestures. Calipari mostly had verbal communication, but at the same time he was a combination of verbal and demonstrating and gestures as well. Okay. And obviously we couldn't show any facial expressions or stuff like that from here, from the angle. In terms of now going back a little bit to leadership styles, okay? What do you think? What did you, if you had to analyze his leadership style now, on this short clip, what styles do you think he applied or demonstrated? What leadership style Calipari demonstrated in this video? Think about autocratic, democratic.
Encouraging users.
Yeah, what leadership style? Was he more autocratic? Was he more democratic?
Cast and
Huh?
More autocratic.
More autocratic. Yeah, it was, I would say it was 50-50, autocratic and democratic. He had to stay firm and be autocratic when, you know, when the hands went down and fouled, because he said that the first time. Second, when what happened on the opposite side, it happened again, and then he blew his whistle and he was firm. He was more democratic when this first happened with the rebound, because he asked questions and then explained the other player that scored 23 with 18 rebounds, blah blah blah. Okay, so it was a bit balanced, but yeah, he had those two. And again, that maybe you know, he doesn't want to stop the drill and explain a lot, because they want them to play. It was more concise, more directive, okay, and say what to do. Although those learners are definitely later associative stage learners. In this, they are 18 college kids, or 18 to 20 years old probably. Okay, good. So leadership in action. Okay, set up drills and warm up to teach skills. Assign team roles. You know, sometimes you can use captains, timekeepers, so on. Keep players motivated and focused. Okay. And then beginners use directive approach, focus on construction. This is more like a summary of the previous and communication, right? Intermediate players engage with collaborative leadership and encourage teamwork and decision making. More advanced players encourage autonomy and problem solving and let them lead aspects of practice. As an activity, practice leading a simple basketball drill using directive leadership styles. Okay? That was more like a summary slide for the one we did before for the leadership styles. Create effective learning environment. So what is effective learning environment? It has to be safe, inclusive and positive. So the kids need to be safe, feel safe there. Needs to be inclusive all together, okay? Which, I mean, for you this is key for what High Five represents and what you've been doing with the kids, okay? And a positive environment that they come there and enjoy and love playing basketball. And that comes through, you know, your effective leadership, okay? And as an organization and as coaches, focus on making it fun, you know, and constructive for them and develop them. Tailoring environments for skill levels, cognitive phase, emphasizing providing guidance and encouragement. Use visual aids and simple instructions. In associative phase, include moderate challenges and competitive elements. Provide time for practice and feedback. So give that little time for discussion and feedback, because again we said that they can give you that internal feedback back. Autonomous phase, introduce high pressure game-like scenarios, foster independence and focus on strategy. So, and as a key tip, balance structure and freedom to match the player's learning style. Then consideration for different groups and activities, adapting coaching for special groups. Sometimes, you know, youth teams, be enthusiastic and encouraging. Use simple language and fun-focused drills. Mixed skill levels, switch between directive and participating leader styles, so autocratic, democratic, okay? Pair experienced players with beginners, sometimes mix them up. If you have any kids with special needs, be more patient with them and make them feel inclusive. Tailor your instructions to suit individual learning preferences. Some key questions to consider is, what are the group's goals? So what are you trying to achieve with each batch that you teach? Okay, what is your aim for the sessions, for the year, for delivering that curriculum, and so on? Are there any special needs for considerations? How can I make the activity engaging for all? Okay, and this is massively, step principles, how we can do to make the now think about step principles, leadership style, okay, depending on the type of learners that we deal with, okay, and always brainstorm and find ways to adapt a common basketball drill for different groups. So the same drill, how you can, as practice in your mind when you're planning, when you're thinking about basketball, how I can do a drill, a simple drill, how I can make it more complicated for associative learners, how can I break it down to smaller steps and go back for beginners, for cognitive learners. Okay? And then bring it all together, the big picture. Great coaching combines adaptable leadership, effective communication, and thoughtful planning. Okay? Leadership styles, communication, ways of communicating, and as a coach, to communicate effectively, you need to use both verbal and non-verbal feedback and communication ways. Okay? And then thoughtful planning. Yeah, maybe that might be, using the step principles to differentiate your drills depending on what you're doing. And then in terms of the psychological element, build trust. Well, this first will help you with the second. So if you do this effectively, it will help you to gain your trust from your learners, okay? Foster growth, support the development, and make the learning and the coaching training sessions enjoyable for you. Because can you imagine if you go there and teach a group of kids that they don't want to be there, they don't want to learn, they're difficult, are you going to enjoy teaching? No. The same works with others. So if you're not making, they're not good leader, they're not effective communicator, and you're not, you don't plan or you don't show that you have that knowledge to pass on and the passion, the kids won't enjoy it as well. Okay? So you see those two lines, how massively linked are to each other. Okay? And then as a motivation coach, a good coach can change a game. A great coach can change a life as well. Okay? Good. Okay, as a feedback and next steps for you as a coach, practice what you've learned with your teams. Okay, so anything that you learn these days, try to implement it in your training sessions. Might not be effective from the beginning, but try. The more you try, and all the slides and everything will be available for you. If you want, go back. You have notes, you have everything. Go back, refresh. And carry on working and planning. You need to, the more effort you put in and the more you apply this on sessions, the better you will become. Okay? Continue learning about coaching. Now, with this now, we completed 6 different, let's say, modules, elements of coaching. Okay, now you can go and research and you find some drills there, and with what you learned here, all this coaching theory, you can filter that drill that I can see on YouTube. How can I do it effective for the beginners? How can I do it effective for the intermediate learners? How can I teach it to intermediate learners? How can I teach it to beginner learners? Okay, beginner batch. Because now you know different styles of communication, what approach you can use as a leader to associative to cognitive learners. Okay, to do it more effective and to demonstrate effective. And with the step principles, how can I differentiate that drill? how can I make it easier for beginners, how can I make it more difficult for intermediate, or and vice versa, depending on the group that I'm teaching. Okay? And it's all about putting the effort into plan, to think. Don't be scared to do mistakes or errors, try new things, okay? And with this theory back, this is gonna be your foundations. Okay, anytime you are in doubt, go back to the theory, study, read, and then you will be able to give answers to yourselves. Okay? And share your experience with each other, with other coaches, okay? Explain what you did, why you did it, and share that knowledge, okay? Okay, so what did you find most useful today or from previous sessions? Think about, today we did about, okay, we started a little bit with refreshing about the 3 stages of learning, of skill acquisition. Okay, yes, today we talked about communication and leadership styles, okay? What did you find most useful today?
That research to identify the age development of the maturity.
Okay.
That was very useful.
Good. Okay. Why it was useful? How will that help you?
Because like when you used to teach kids, so some are able to do it, some are not able to do it. You used to blame that kid before, okay, you're not doing good, you're not doing good.
Yeah.
Now,
Exactly.
now you understand what is the problem.
And to be honest, especially with the kids, it's not the kid's fault. It's probably something is wrong with you as a coach. Okay? Because if the kid doesn't get it, there's a reason that doesn't get it. It's cognitive learning. They don't know. Okay? You can't get frustrated with a kid. Okay? If I have planned to do something that is more advanced for the level of the learning of the learner, and they don't get it, it's probably my fault. I need to break it down, go one step back, because that means that it's not ready to take it. In the same batch, one kid might not get it, the other 10 might get it, okay? That kid it's an indicator for you, but doesn't mean that if most of the groups get it and go, you have to slow down all the group. My baby, spend some time with that kid to explain it differently, go back. Or, if the other learners now, talking about leadership styles, if the other learners are more like, associated learners, what can I do? Peer-to-peer, peer learning. You can ask someone else that is more advanced, say like, can you demonstrate, break it down, how can we do this? So demonstrate that if obviously you have the time, it's a training session, yeah? If it's a game situation, you will probably, unfortunately, if you want to win or anything, you will take this kid on the bench, try to explain, put them back in afterwards, and see how they're going to respond, because again, you don't have that time. In a training session, you might say, okay, peer-to-peer, what we can do now? Ask them an open-ended question to help our teammate, okay? And then we'll build confidence with them, we'll give him the understanding he needs, and then when he starts doing that, he will get that confidence as well. Okay, very good, very good example. Anything else? Anyone else? What did you find the most useful today?
When are you supposed to be automatic, critical? So
Distinguish between, yes, that's great, nice, okay.
So how to communicate with different stages of the kids.
Okay. How you can communicate with, let's say, beginners?
Beginner अपने कैसे communication करना चाहिए, कैसे करोगे?
हिंदी में क्लियर समझो, मोटिवेट करें, बट समझाएंगे कैसे?
नहीं, वो बोल रहा है करेक्ट करें।
करेक्ट करेंगे, हाँ कैसे? पूछेंगे कि सीधा बताएंगे, बिगिनर लेवल पे कैसे?
That's a great question. So let me help you a little bit. Think about what we said before. Cognitive learners, feedback needs to be concise, very specific, clear, stuff like that. Yeah. And can you just, with a cognitive learner, can you use just eye gesture to just show them to do something? Because they want to start it, yeah. Okay. You might need to be a little bit more use gestures, okay. you might a lot of verbal communication because they need to to see, and a lot. What did we say yesterday about the cognitive learners? What they need a lot, how they learn, but by doing things. Okay, you demonstrate and you ask them, and then you auto-correct it. You might go and physically use your arm, or how you hold the ball, or how you pass, or do the step, the footwork. So different types of demonstration. A lot of demonstrations means that a lot of verbal communication, explain, and a lot of gestures and show them actually. Yeah. Okay. Good. Great. Nice. Is there any other areas that you would like to further explore with whatever we said, or it was quite okay? Okay. Is there anything else that you think that in your coaching that based on what we discussed today, or anything else that you think that is missing, or you want to explore further, or any of the any other areas that we discussed today and yesterday? Let's say think about skill acquisition, motor learning, think about leadership styles, communication styles. Is there anything that you have something that you want to explore further? You think that it wasn't, you didn't understand
जैसा है
well?
कि जो कम लग गया और आपको लगता है कि कल परसों जो भी ट्रेनिंग हुआ है आज का कि आपको थोड़ा और इसके बारे में जानकारी चाहिए, ऐसा लगता है कि मेरे को इंटरेस्ट है इसके बारे में जानना मालूम करना है, ऐसा कुछ।
Is there anything?
What if I'm a directive style? I'm using directive style of coaching. I believe
More autocratic,
that,
yeah?
and I believe that this style only work for me.
Okay.
So how can I switch to other? Means what will be the way to get out of that belief?
Yeah. So
Try different.
exactly. That what we did today with the arrow, and we said if we go back to this. Okay. So our coaching style isn't fixed. Okay. That maybe reflects to your personal philosophy, which you might be like this because you grew up like this. It's like inside you. I'm more direct, I'm more firm, but it's clear what is effective in which type of environment and learning style. If you are inflexible, you're gonna be less effective coach. Okay? And that's for you as a feedback, because as coaches, we need to reflect, okay, on our coaching to become better coaches. Okay? By doing this practicing and that reflection, self-reflection after every session, because you will be able to see that if you are if you're autocratic and you start losing players and the morale of the team drops down and they stop performing, they're not motivated, and you reflect on that, you will see that you are losing the team, and that will lead to losing trust in your team, losing motivation, and the players won't want to play with you. A lot of coaches, they lose track of that and then they get sacked. Okay, because the team won't play for you, and they won't perform. If you lose that with the team, that inflexibility that you can't adjust, you can't be adaptable and adjustable as a coach, is going to have negative impact for you.
So how will you help me in this situation?
Self-reflection and try to practice progressively other styles, be more democratic in some ways. Okay, you based on your instincts, that is difficult to change on action when the game is on, when the training is on. But what you can do is when your palms are down, and sit down with the players, apologize, says that you know what, I was wrong on that side, but it was just the pressure of the game. Apologies that I shouted at you. I was just a little bit more firm with you. But now we are all chill. The game is over. Okay, that's why I did it, and try to do it afterwards. And then this will help you if you do that. If you practice that as a coach as well, next time maybe you start introducing that and implementing that in a game situation. Okay, because it's very difficult to switch. It's very difficult to switch, and especially in a game situation. But in a game situation, again, when the time is, you don't have the time, you need to be more autocratic. Yeah? But whenever you have the time, reflect and try to notch it down a little bit, because otherwise it's going to have a negative impact on your team and your learners, especially when they progress towards from the associative stage towards the autonomous stage. Because they will start understanding, they will start doing this, they will start getting demotivated if you just directing them what to do. They need to figure it out a little bit more and start getting ownership of their actions and decision making. They want to have that. That's research says it's more effective, and it is more effective. Yeah.
So basically, it has to be from within me.
Yeah, it has to be through self-reflection, and then through practice.
And
Yeah.
you do whatever is better for the team. So,
Exactly, because if you say what you're saying and the first thing is to acknowledge that. If you acknowledge that, automatically you own it. Okay? A lot of people they don't want to change and they are like this because their ego is there and they can't put their ego down. But that's why there are good coaches and bad coaches as well. Okay? If you want to change it and be, you might not be effective at the beginning, but if you practice it, whenever you can be direct, more democratic, more autocratic, you will get better. But if you don't want to, you can't put your ego down, that's a problem. Okay? If you want to do it, you can reflect. You will be take ownership. Don't be scared of apologize to your players. Says that you know what, I did a mistake there. I should have done this. So sorry about that. Okay? Next time I will try to be different. Or now we are chill. We are a lot of time, especially during games, because now with the university team I play and coach. Okay? Which is the most difficult thing. Because I can see 10 mistakes at the same time that happens. But at the same time I need to play as well. And it's hard to communicate that while the game is on. And sometimes I'm very directive, very firm with the players. And because we have young players as well, it's not the best for that. And I know that it's not the best. But during the game, I don't have the time to stop the game and distract them. So that's why when we finish and we win, because we play in our level, it's high pressure because we want to win and we want to get promoted this year. That's the goal. If I didn't care I didn't have that pressure about to win the league and get promoted, because that's why we want to do this year for the program. And I had more working time with them, more training time with them. I will be 10 times more democratic and I will spend time to organize that. But at the same time, I keep them accountable because what I'm telling them is that I know what's going on, but because I organize 3 training sessions for you and you only be able to come for 1. So it's your problem, it's not mine. Okay? You need to cope with that because otherwise, come for 3 sessions, we will work that, I will be patient, I will have more time to work with you, okay? And as a result, I won't have to do this. Okay? If you're not, I'm giving you the option. So if you're 18, 19 years old, I expect you to come and be focused at least to do the training session. I'm expecting when we do a play, I expect for you to go write it down and come back next time prepared. I don't have the time and the opportunity and the leisure to explain to you every time when we come back. Because if I have to do this, we won't be able to do that. Okay? As simple as that. And that's why, to be honest, this year, we had to let one player go. Because he came there, he's 22 years old. He has never played the elite, proper level. His communication wasn't there. So he went on holidays. He played 1 game, went on holidays without letting me or the coach know. He didn't come to Tuesday session, he didn't come on Thursday session, and then he turned up on the next game and he expected to play. No. And I said to the other coach, he will play 0. And then because the game was 40, we were winning by 40, he put him in to play. Which for me, I wouldn't do that. The other coach put him in. And then in the end, although we won by 45 points, I sat everyone down as a feedback. And it wasn't at him, so he went on holidays, he didn't let me know. His friend told me, didn't turn up for 2 sessions, turned up on the game without communicating, and he missed the Wednesday game as well for the university because he's a scholar. and I messaged him. I went to watch the university game because the other coaches the university team. And I watched the game, he wasn't there, and I took a picture from the game, and I WhatsApped him to him. So I said, like, where are you? But the message was delivered. When he came on Sunday, he told me, sorry coach, I wasn't on sessions because my phone was broken. I couldn't communicate, I had some problem. I couldn't communicate with you because my phone was broken and it was on the store for repairs. Okay? Am I stupid or what? How can you receive a message? Because on WhatsApp you can see message delivered, message read. It wasn't read, but it was delivered. How can a message be delivered in a broken phone? Okay. And then third one, on the Wednesday game with the university team, twisted slightly his ankle. Thursday, he came for the training. He tried to start the training session. After 10 minutes, he said that, oh, it's very painful, I can't continue the session. Okay, stay out. You do your recovery, put ice on, give him a band, come earlier in the training session, prepare your ankle, do some jogging, do some changing direction, see if you feel pain, not just stepping in 5 minutes before the training starts and go in the session and then start the training session and then tell me that it's painful or anything. Okay? And when I go back home after the training session on Thursday, I'm checking I'm checking the Instagram, and he has me on the Instagram as well. 2 hours before the training session, he posted a video in a skate park doing skateboard, and posted on the Instagram, make fun with his friend, like with a twisted ankle the day before he comes to the training session, and we have a game on a Sunday. He was doing, on the skate park doing skateboard with a twisted ankle. And I didn't say anything before the game. So I discussed with my coach, with other coaches, said that this player that went on holidays and didn't let us know, play 0. The other player who did that with the phone, play 0. The other player who did that with the ankle, we will see if he's okay to play. But then in the end, I'm gonna speak to everyone. And then we discussed about communication, how important is communication about this. And then I said, you can't tell me that you can't go on holidays and just don't let us know. I understand you're not professionals, but I expected you at least to let me know, because I'm organizing the training sessions, I'm organizing for the court, I'm doing 10 things here, I'm planning the training session, and I expect you to be there. If you don't let me know that you're not going to be there, it's not going to work, it's not effective for the team. Then you can't expect, if you treat me that way and you treat the team that way, you can't expect me to play you and then have a demand to play on that game. Who do you think you are? And the other one that I said, you can't tell me that, I wasn't born yesterday. You can't tell me that your phone was broken and then the message was delivered and read, okay? You can't just be injured and then go just 2 hours before the training session and do a skate park and post it on social media. At least be smarter and just don't post it. Coaches now, they filter you from everywhere, like they can see you.
At least he had to hide you.
That's what I meant. Just at least, if you're stupid enough to do it and you don't care, just don't do it. Because if that happens in a more elite environment, I'm gonna cut your contract, or you're gonna get a fine, you're gonna get a fine, you're gonna get a fine. And you won't play for another 3 games. Okay? And because the other 2 said sorry and apologized and stopped, the other one who went on holidays started answering back to me. I say that, okay, yes, but you're a player coach, and then you're a player coach as well, and you played. We won by 40, and you shouldn't have played that much today. And we had the one moment that the team didn't have a coach, because both of the coaches we were playing in the game. I said, like, okay, so just to let you know that I'm 38, we run the team, he's 45, the other coach, and we are planning, we are paying, we are doing everything for this team. And I did 3 sessions for this game because we want to win, we want to support the team.
Okay? And why would the hell I stay out and you play? You don't deserve to play because you're not. You show us that you're not part of this process. Okay? We are supporting the process, and you won't let me know when I'm gonna play or not. Okay? And it was 45 points. Yes, we didn't have a coach, but we didn't need a coach at the time. We were able for 5 minutes to both of us to play. Because I didn't have anyone on the bench, because you are not there. Okay? And for me, you shouldn't have played a minute today. Okay? And then start to say that, yes, but on the training sessions, we practice this. I didn't come for the training sessions because at that point, we were 5 weeks on this program, yeah? I didn't come to the training session because I came the other 4 weeks. He was alive. He never came 4 weeks in a row, okay? And you did the same things. So you criticized my coach very well. And I was like, first of all, you won't tell me what to do, okay? Second is that we play that motion offense that we try to play. In my eyes, in his eyes, he said that, okay, we did that offense, we played now, we played well, we need to do more, okay? In my eyes, the motion offense that we played 10% effectively, in my eyes, okay? In his eyes, maybe we were mastering it, okay? And that's our difference, okay? But the way that he spoke back to me and nonsense just to show me that, wanted to say something, for me, it was very bad. It was on the blacklist already. So for that player, I can't be democratic with this player, okay? Because then I compromise everything else. Because if I'm with him, I take on this set, I'm gonna lose everyone else. And I went back with the coach after this because that conversation was a little bit heated after the game because he pissed me off during that conversation because he was on the wrong. You can't tell me that you never turn up on session. When I turn up on session, you just don't pay attention and you answer back and you expect me to treat you in a democratic way. I will be different with the others, but not this with him. Anyway, so we reflected back with the coach. We had a meeting afterwards, and we said that should we give him another chance? The other coach, I was about to give him another chance, okay? Because nobody else taught him this in the past. And the coach says, no, we need to send him a message and we need to let him go because he won't change. And he might need a lot of time to change, but he's gonna be the cancer of the team. So he's gonna probably, it's like putting a bad apple next to good apples. Everybody will get rotten there. And we decided to let him go. But I used different leadership style with him to someone else. Okay, because of the way of communicating and the way that he responded. Okay, sometimes I have to be directive, I have to be firm, and I have to be strict with that. Okay, and I'm not gonna take any. If he was apologizing and used a different approach of communication with me, we would have had a different chance. But just to secure the team and secure what we try to achieve, it was a different way that I used with him. Okay, and that's the same into the game, into the training sessions. Okay, and that's something. If I do a mistake, I will say it. Okay, I did a mistake. If for example we have to be different, we will have to be different. But I will explain. This is for our good because we try all together to achieve something. It's not that my ego is there. It's about I want to achieve something with this team, and that's our aim. That's our goal. Okay, because my goal is next year this team to go up, and we create a second team and bring more student athletes into the program. Because that's what we want to achieve. That's where you sign up. Okay? You sign up into this because they are student athletes. Okay? We won't give you scholarship just to be there and be the pretty ones. Okay? It's this, you have to do this. Okay? You explain to them. And it's all about them explaining and communicating why, the whys and whats. Okay? But how you switch from this side, from that to the one. It's not easy, and it's not always effective. You might sometimes, especially when you play in a high pressure environment with high tempo and high heart rate, sometimes you might make the wrong decision, but that's okay. Just reflect, take your time, reflect, apologize, or discuss it with them, and it's all good. Okay? Be accountable, take ownership of what you've been doing. Okay? And if as a leader you made a decision and that decision wasn't effective, it didn't go well, next game it says like, okay, the approach that I used was wrong. The play we played there was wrong. The decision I made there was wrong. Okay, that's fine. Okay, next time you do it effectively, then trust. Even by taking accountability and let's say that you did a mistake, that supports the trust with your players. Okay? If everybody else thinks that you are wrong and you did a mistake, and you feel that because your ego is there and you feel that no, I wasn't wrong, but inside you know that you didn't do it. Okay, that's ego. Okay, that's not in long run. That's not effective. Okay. Does this answer your question? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Anything else?
In India, we have one more style of communication, physical communication.
Communication. Yeah. Why?
So what's like for our coaches, but a lot of coaches use that. So does this happen in any other country as well? Or
Use what? They use communication.
Hitting.
Oh shit.
Hitting or something.
So for example, in nationals, it is not allowed to hit anyone, but still the coaches, the other players will make a circle around them. This coach will slap him or whack him.
In the UK, you will go to jail. I'm not fine. I'm not there. In the UK, it's safeguarding. You will lose your job. You will not be able to. If you touch a kid, you're done. You're done. I don't know. Like in adults level, yeah, because they're adults, it's different. So fights and stuff like that. Again, you might be in trouble, but it's different. But as a coach, if you touch a kid, you're done. Yeah. In other countries, safeguarding becomes a concern. Well, in Greece, I grew up like this. Yeah. Even now, not just as a coach, as a parent, if you hit your kid, you might lose your kid, or you might other youth services or social services might get involved to support you for a bit. But if that is getting abusive and continues, you will lose your child. You're gonna go to a foster family and so on. If that happens, to be honest with me, it is okay, but not to just hit a kid and just send him to the hospital. But my dad used to slap me in the bum or something sometimes, so it used to be a little bit more, grabbing and stuff like that. I grew up well. I know it wasn't just some slap on the bum or something like that. It's not really. A coach sometimes in the game. I was 17. We were playing national finals, and I was a captain of the team. I lost my temper with the referee because in the second quarter he gave me the my third foul, which wasn't a foul. I complained and I get a technical as well. So from the second quarter, I was like out of the game. He grabbed me in the bench, and in front of my parents and 1,000 fans, he slapped me to wake me up. I didn't play the end of the second quarter, so halftime, my parents were mad, I wanted to kill him anyway. But I was fine. I went back in the changing rooms, we discussed it, went back in, started the game, ended the game with 30 points, and I wasn't fouled out. So I played the rest, another 20 minutes in the second half with 4 fouls. I finished the game with 4 fouls, and I had scored 12 points in the first quarter, and the first half, as far as I played. And I scored another 18, how much I scored in the end. So, yeah. And we won the game as well. So, but, yeah, if you do this now, no. In some countries, it's getting, especially all the Western countries now with safeguarding, because in England it changed that in 2012, when a kid died from abusive parents. Yeah, before that, it wasn't legislation or around that. It wasn't legally. It was just as a conception. But since then, and now we do training 2 or 3 times per year. We do training about safeguarding. It's about physical abuse, sometimes verbal abuse, sexual abuse, negligence, and stuff like that. So that becomes big. Yeah. So there you go.
So that time you are okay because you know the intention of your coach.
It was alright. I'm not saying that like I felt good with the slapping. And then later on, a few years later, that was back in 2006 when it happened to me. In 2000, I don't remember that. Was it 12, 13, something like that? National team. The coach slapped a player. Similar scenario. Newspapers, journalists, you know, that coach was in trouble. A lot of judgment, a lot of criticism about that coach because he was Greek national team in a European competition, high level, with cameras, with streaming and stuff like that. Everybody saw it. Yeah, it was quite bad. Looked bad, looked really bad. And I think since then, even in Greece, they just, you know, it's not acceptable. It's not appropriate. Yeah, hitting. So yeah, it changes. It changes. Yeah.
So one experience Digvijay sir has in Rajasthan tournament. वो सब शांत बैठ के कोचिंग जो
Yeah, I'm not encouraged, you know, obviously like hitting and stuff like that, but to be
it's
firm
not,
especially.
it's not about hitting.
Yeah.
Like we discussed, we used to do this joystick coaching.
Yeah.
But in that tournament where he went with the team, no one is using that kind of coaching. Every coach was just sitting.
Yeah.
And just observing the game. At that time, Digvijay sir was feeling very helpless. Like, कैसा करना है?
No, you can't do this. You can't do this even in a little level because think about that. It's not just if your team is a pro team, you play against a pro team. So that creates a unique situation, different scenarios that sometimes you can predict. You might have done scouting, you have worked with them. Sometimes they're unpredictable. Then you need to adjust. Unless it's a game like, I don't know, like even with 50, 60 points winning game, you can try some things, you can give some tries, you can be a little bit more laid back or something like that, but you can't be a coach like by watching. You're a spectator if you're watching, you're not a coach. Yeah, you need something will happen. There's always room for improvement. You can give some feedback. There's a different way to give that feedback. You might be a little more positive, or if you don't have that pressure of winning because you're winning 30 points, you might get the time out, ask them some questions. You might be a little more democratic rather than autocratic, but staying silent. No. It's a dynamic game. Everything changes in basketball. It's dynamic. You need to be dynamic and adjustable and adaptable all the time. Yeah.
So, Dappa has one question.
Yeah.
He says he has 1 week's time to coach his club team. So, what should he focus on?
There's no magic stick. There's no magic stick. That's what I said now with the training sessions we did the day before yesterday. There are more packed session concise to just try to prepare the players. So now, if you have this time frame only to go and prepare the team, you have to choose based on your team what are the strengths of the team or what is the biggest weakness of the team, and the time that you have available, try to do the best. So maybe simplify, try to do 2 things, try to do them, you know, based on your strengths. I will try to strengthen my strengths and improve my weakest point, so to be most effective for that game. For example, if I know that my team biggest weakness is that we don't cope well, we do a lot of turnovers when the other team puts pressure or do a full court press, I will focus on preparing my team to do a press break, because that will allow me to reduce my turnovers and have more offenses. And then when we have more offenses and if we have that press break and score some easy layups, that team won't continue pressing, okay? Because that will be pointless for them. If I know that that's my biggest problem, I will focus on working 5 days on that to be more effective for that team. If I know that my strengths are, let's say, in shooting, I will do a little bit more shooting, so on Sunday we'll be more effective, you know, shooting the ball better. Or if I know that my strongest point is fast breaks, I will even work more on fast breaks to see how we can not miss any layups. I will do more fast break situations to be able to do that. If we have only 1 week to prepare something, I will need to know my team, I need to know the weakness of my team and the strengths of my team, and focus on 2 things, based on the time that I have available to work with my team. So just prioritize two key things: improve my biggest weakness and strengthen my my strong points. That's what I'm gonna do if I have this time. And then when we finish that game or the tournament that we want to play, then when I have plenty of time, I will break it down to blocks and I will start working everything, because again, everything needs to be worked and when you practice with other things. That will be my strategy and my approach for that week. And in essence, what we're doing now, this training session, that's what I explained. I'm doing a lot of things in the 3 training sessions for that team, because you're recording them, and then the coach, because I have only 3 days, the coach will have 4 weeks or something like that before the tournament. Maybe those 3 training sessions, 1 training session, make them 1 week. Do second training session, make them the second week. Third training session, make them another 3rd week. And the 4th week, do all together. And refresh them all together. And again, and when you finish that tournament, with the same group, break that to work 1 month, work 2nd month, work 3rd month, or work 1 week 1, and make the other blocks the 2nd month, and so on. And then as you progress, you will see that practice, they're gonna get better with that. And become more
should be the approach for all
automatic.
the coaches with the tournament. Because most of the coaches, they struggle with how to plan for a tournament.
Yeah.
They mix stuff up.
Yeah.
Then it becomes a thing, because you are nowhere, like you're not strengthening your strengths,
Yeah.
and you're not working on your weakest weakness.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you just lather around the base.
Yeah, look, when you have the big period of time to work, preparation, let's say locally, you play the intra phase, you work with blocks, you focus on skill development, a little bit, when it's the intermediate level, you work on game situation, team play, stuff like that. And when you are going closer to the tournaments, more intense, more technical, tactical focus, not that much to the skill learning. And when it's something like a big tournament coming and a big opportunity to show and play well and maybe achieve something, win something, maybe more intense, more tactical and stuff like that. But don't compromise, because all the kids needs to improve their shooting, needs to improve the passing. You can see the passing that they're doing is slow, it's long passing, they jump and pass the ball in the air. All these things, they need to be improving, because they won't be able to play the plays and the tactical things effectively if they don't improve this. Because now you don't have the time, or when we do the session, to correct the passing, but maybe spend 20 minutes on the next session to do passing drills and stuff like that, or focus on those. Okay? They need to continue improving the basic skills, the shooting, a lot of them shooting with bad footwork, with bad forms and stuff like that. And at the same time, strength, because sometimes they can't shoot because they don't have the strength. Maybe use that gym on the side, or use the stairs, or yesterday they couldn't do push-ups. You make them do push-ups, whatever you want. Okay? Maybe if, 10 minutes at the beginning, sacrifice twice per week. If they do 5-6 sessions, 10-15 minutes, we can do some, or find a wall and ask them to do simple walls and stuff like that for 5 minutes, squats, I don't know, like if they're healthy, ask the kids, one light kid to one heavy kid, just do squats with the one with each other, go and do step ups on the stairs, jump ups, plyometrics, so they can start getting a little bit stronger as well. Or do, I don't know, like just do lunges there and back, with their body weight, it's fine. Yeah, just they need to get stronger a little bit as well. Yes. And all that, I think, it's, as we said, the second phase, maybe strength and conditioning, then even with the facilities, with the academy, when they have a proper gym, it's different story there. So some days I mean, I'm not an expert. I haven't studied, sports science to do the conditioning thing, but with the strength and conditioning coach, or if some of you, I think, did you study this? Yeah, periodization, the conditioning. Sometimes you need to know how to load the sessions. They need to do more conditioning. But for example, if I knew that yesterday or the day before they ran a lot, maybe tomorrow I will just do a different session. I won't run a lot there. Okay? Just some things, you can do them a little bit more structured. You can standardize them. But yeah, you need to have expertise. I'm not an expert to say, oh, they need to do 5 days a week. This is the strength and conditioning. That's why you need strength and conditioning coach later on, sports scientists to do the physical conditioning and stuff like that. But yeah, that's why teams have a head coach, an assistant coach, S&C, physiotherapists, and other kind of stuff. And now it's all about multidisciplinary, okay? All together, because the head coach, plans something, but I need to listen from my strength and conditioning coach or my sports scientist that, oh coach, if you do this 5 days a week, on Saturday, there will be, my loose players injured. You can't go up tempo and run in 5 days a week.
There has to be rest and recovery.
Exactly. There are days that you load, there are days that you unload, there are days that the intensity is higher but for shorter period of time and stuff like that. There is a zero intensity training, only light shooting and walk through the game.
For matches, there is a different kind of approach.
Yeah, exactly. And they work in micro and in cycles, yeah. But yeah, that's something that is outside of my area of expertise. I'm not an expert with that, but I know that's why you need different types of coaches there. Okay. But I mean, with kids, in this age, it's they're more resilient in this way. The bodies they recover quickly, stuff like that. But it's also eating, nutrition, sleep, and stuff like that plays a big impact. And it's different again with the weather conditions. Sometimes you can't go, when it's 40 degrees to do the same training like this period of time. So that's another thing for consideration. Maybe during high heat time, you can do shorter training session, a little bit higher intensity, and more maybe tactical things during that period. And we can just slow down a little bit, learn more and stuff like that. But it's difficult, and you see how complex is all these things. How you can manage, all the things as a coach. That's why it's not, everything perfect. It doesn't have to be everything perfect. It has to be, the most efficient. Find the most efficient way. But it's just try and error, and then reflection and see. Okay. Good. Again, any questions or anything we can discuss. We can go again. Okay. I will try to make those. Or while I'm here, if you have a flash drive, I can give you because if I can send them to you. Oh, I think with WeTransfer we will be able to send them already.
WeTransfer, but we have.
Yeah.
We can.
You can get because the PowerPoints are bigger files. I can email them to you.
अपना hard drive अपने है ना hard drive.
I don't think I will be able to do them today, but we need to have a converter as well. I have it at the.
Okay.